The porcelain cup slipped from her trembling hand and shattered across the cafe floor. Gasps rippled through the air like a sudden gust of wind. Emily froze, one hand clutching her swollen belly as fear and shame collided in her chest. For a moment, the world blurred, the chatter, the music, the clinking of silverware, all drowned out by the cruel laughter that followed. "Careful," a voice sneered, dripping with arrogance. The man in the tailored suit leaned back in his chair, a smirk curling his lips. "Women like you don't belong here. This cafe isn't a shelter. Maybe you should stick to places where people can afford the mess you make." Emily's cheeks flushed crimson. Dozens of eyes turned her way. Some whispered, some stared, and many looked away, pretending not to notice. But not a single soul stood up. She bent down awkwardly, one hand shielding her belly, trying to gather the courage to pick up the broken shards. The baby inside her shifted, a sharp kick reminding her she wasn't alone, even though the room made her feel invisible. Tears threatened to spill, but she blinked them back. She wasn't weak. She had been raised to endure hardship with grace. And yet, humiliation this public, this cruel, it pierced deeper than she thought possible. The arrogant man chuckled again, louder this time so everyone could hear. "Pathetic," he muttered. "Pregnant, clumsy, and looking for pity. I suppose you're hoping some rich fool will take care of you." Emily gasped. Her hand clutched tighter against her stomach, as though shielding her child from the venom of his words. Her lips parted to defend herself, but her voice broke before the words could come. And then, the bell above the cafe door chimed. James stepped inside. At first glance, he was simply another man in a tailored suit, tall, broad-shouldered, and calm. But for Emily, his presence was like oxygen. The moment her eyes met his, relief washed over her trembling body. He saw the scene instantly, the broken cup, the red flush of her face, the arrogant man smirking like a predator. James's jaw tightened. In 2 long strides, he was at Emily's side, his hand gently steadying her shoulders. "Are you all right?" His voice was low, warm, meant only for her. She shook her head, tears spilling now, silent but raw. The arrogant man tilted his head, amused. "Oh, so this is your husband?" He snorted. "Makes sense. You both look like you wandered in from the wrong street. Maybe take her back where she belongs." The cafe grew colder, quieter. Phones appeared in hands, screens glowing, recording. No one knew yet who James Harrington really was. They were about to. James straightened. His gaze, usually gentle, hardened like steel. Without raising his voice, he turned to the man. "You think it's acceptable," James said, his tone calm but cutting, "to humiliate a woman carrying life inside her? You think her worth depends on her dress, or your opinion?" The man scoffed. "Don't preach to me. This is a luxury cafe. People like her lower the standard." James took out his phone, not to call the police, not to record, but to press a single button. Within minutes, 3 men in dark suits entered the cafe. Executives. Security. The cafe manager rushed in behind them, pale as marble. "Mr. Harrington," the manager stammered. We didn't know you were coming." The arrogant man's eyes widened. Harrington. The name hit him like a blow. Billionaire. Owner of this very cafe chain. The man sitting in front of him wasn't just some stranger, he was the one who owned the ground under his feet. James's hand never left Emily's shoulder as he stepped forward, his voice echoing in the silent cafe. "This woman is my wife. She's carrying my child. And you thought it was your right to strip her of dignity in front of strangers." The man stuttered. I didn't know." "That's the point," James cut in, his tone sharp. "You didn't care who she was. You saw a woman and measured her worth by the clothes she wore. You saw a mother-to-be and decided she deserved humiliation. People like you believe money equals power. But let me tell you something. He stepped closer, his gaze unblinking. Money does not measure worth. Kindness does. Humanity does. And today, you've shown you have neither. The cafe erupted in whispers. Every phone recorded. Some people who had looked away earlier now stared with guilt. James turned to the manager. Effective immediately, this man is banned from every establishment I own. And inform my partners, his name will not be welcomed in any room I walk into. The man panicked. Please, I didn't know, I swear, please. James's expression didn't waver. Arrogance has consequences. Today, you'll learn humility the hard way. Security escorted the man out, his protests echoing uselessly against the walls. James then turned, not to Emily, but to the crowd. His voice carried a weight heavier than wealth. Remember this, he said. It doesn't take a billionaire to stand up for someone. It doesn't take power or status. It only takes courage. The next time you see injustice, don't look away. Silence filled the cafe. Heads bowed. Some nodded, realizing they had been complicit by doing nothing. That night, the video spread like wildfire. Millions watched. Headlines screamed, "Billionaire defends pregnant wife from public humiliation." Comments poured in, "Faith in humanity restored. We need more men like him. Kindness is the real wealth." The arrogant man's downfall was swift. His business ties severed, his influence gone, he disappeared into obscurity. But James and Emily's story became a symbol, not of power, but of love, of protection, of the courage to stand for what's right. Months later, Emily gave birth to a healthy baby girl. The hospital room was quiet except for the soft cries of new life. James cradled his daughter, tears glistening in his eyes. He whispered the same words he had spoken in that cafe, "Your worth will never be measured by money, my love. Only by kindness." Emily, exhausted but glowing, watched him with a smile. She knew their legacy wasn't billions in the bank, it was billions of moments where humanity triumphed over arrogance. And in that room, as their daughter grasped her father's finger, the world outside faded. They had everything they needed, love, courage, and the kind of wealth no fortune could ever buy. True power is not in wealth or arrogance, but in kindness and the courage to protect those who cannot fight for themselves.